Welcome to the Grounded Bag podcast. I am your host, Aisha Ansa, and if you haven't planted roots with us as of yet, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like, share, and comment so that you don't miss any videos, as well as hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified. And please let the YouTube multiverse know that you are in it to win it, but most importantly, on a serious note, that you are here for you, your health, as well as your restoration, both mind, body, and spirit. And this is an extension of the Grounded Bag podcast. So, this is our body wisdom, spiritual health, and bold health segment. And in addition to this, please do not forget to listen to us on Spotify as well as to subscribe to our Substack, the Grounded Bag Podcast, so you never miss any updates or latest conversations. This segment is focused on addressing the whole person, so let's dive into it and begin our journey.
Yes, indeed. So, as far as the resources are concerned, I just want to make sure that we are able to gather, gather, my beautiful people gather, and that we're also able to just talk about that as well as the resources that are accessible, most importantly. And can you hear me? Can you hear me? I believe you can. So, so while you're on your break and while you're just getting yourself and just taking this moment for you, I just want you to just do this with me. Just breathe in and breathe out. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. This is your moment. This is your moment to just be. This is your moment to breathe. And this is your moment to also feel like yourself. And I know that you're on your breaks. I'm not going to keep you, I'm not going to hold you. So, as far as digital healing spaces built for women of color, especially Black women, I want to be specific because there's so many resources out there. So many. Many of you probably heard of BetterHelp, Talkspace, other forms of therapy, online telehealth resources. But now more than ever, cultural competency is so important because as an MSW student from Howard University, going into my final term this summer, woohoo, I've learned so much about the core principles as well as about core competencies. But the most important thing is being mindful that we're all different cultures, different heritages, different mindsets, different belief systems, but we are all saved by grace through faith. And I just want you to know that this is not only a faith based YouTube channel in many ways, but I am boldly and full of joy that God has been guiding me on this journey, even with my own health. And that's why I want to share these platforms and resources with you. And if we are not able to touch on all of them, I will be sharing all of the links in my Substack. So just know, I don't want to just cloud the description box with all of the links. I want you to be able to go to a dedicated place where you can always go back to those dedicated places and get those links. And I will be sharing one link that has all of the resources so that way it's not too distracting. Because that's the most important thing is that you not only have that support and advocacy, but you also feel seen and heard in this moment. So when it comes to digital healing spaces built for women of color, especially Black women, I do want to let you know that the first on our list is the safe space. No, the safe place, pardon me. It's created by Jasmine Pierre. And not only does that platform include affirmations, guided meditations, and trauma informed content, but it also addresses racial trauma and stigma directly built to spread um in many ways. that is spreading, and it can also make us feel ashamed of who we are, where we come from, how we speak, and culturally wear how we want to dress. But the goal of that platform is to spread awareness and break the stigma, especially in the Black community, because the most important thing is when it comes to our communities individually as people, if we don't start at home, then where it's as if we're leaving our home uncared for. And then we are not preparing the next generation to carry the baton or know even what to do. So that is precisely why it is important that before we start with others, we start with ourselves, and we start with our community as well as with other communities who are not able to access a lot of resources. So that's precisely why the directory that I'm creating and that I'm going to be curating for each segment is going to be very impactful. And I hope that you're able to follow that along. And in addition to the safe place, um, Exhale is a very good resource. They were also featured in Vogue, but they were also designed specifically for Black women and women of color, not only to provide daily affirmations, but as well as guided audio and emotional support. Because as a college student, as a working individual, and as an individual who is either doing a project, like moving in some elements and sometimes not really staying still often, I like to listen to audios, music on Spotify. I have the free version. Don't judge me because listen, hey, I'll take the ads with 30 minutes of music. And some of us, we enjoy that, right? And emotional support, because let's say if you're navigating moving from one place to place and you're trying to build your community, that's important, is to have a form of grounding so that we don't feel isolated. And sometimes we self isolate ourselves because of many things, maybe past traumas, maybe relationships that made us feel uncomfortable to be ourselves, and just many form of life circumstances. Bullying could be one of them. Navigating life struggles can be many um obstacles and hurdles to climb, believe me you. So listen, if you could achieve elementary school, and if you can achieve high school, and just any social space that had a lot of industry versus inferiority, you could survive anything. I'm telling you. Ooh, I'm telling you. So that's why I love Exhale, because I love that it also has those voice notes where you can actually hear someone that gets it, and you on where you don't essentially have to hear your own voice sometimes, because sometimes we can judge ourselves like up and down, like no one has anything on us, we can do it. So I love that that is an option, and I'll be sharing those links too. And Liberate is also a good one. Meditation app for us by us. As well, it was also created to center BIPOC healing experiences. And I will be sharing more experiences on that, more information on that as to how you can continue the care. So that is also a very good resource, because we know the Calm apps, we know the Sync Tuitions, we know those other apps, but and I will be talking about that in future episodes, believe me. But especially the comparison between Calm app and Sync Tuition, because that is something that I've tried both apps, and I'm going to give you my benediction on both experiences. But as far as therapy and direct support, especially that is women of color centered, especially, I do know that there is therapy. It's called Therapy for Black Women, but it's also founded by Joy Hardman Bradford, and it's a directory filled with Black women therapists, as well as podcasts and blogs, because we have to keep in mind that how someone sees themselves is how they're essentially going to see therapy. But as well as the level of comfortability to therapy is important. But I don't want to be ignorant and say that every individual who may look like you in therapy is going to be culturally centered. No, absolutely not. You have to use your own discernment, or if you don't feel as though you have that level of awareness yet, it all comes down to, I don't want to say common sense, but it comes down to comfortability. Are they listening to me? Are they talking over me? Am I saying everything and they're not understanding anything that I'm saying? Because the saddest thing is that we have conditioned ourselves to be like, oh, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to make them feel bad. I'm paying for this session. They're not doing this for free. Okay. So there's so many times where we feel guilty because we don't want to make a clinician feel bad, a doctor feel bad if they're not doing their jobs correctly. But when you know that your life is on the line, when you know that you're walking your shoes and you're spending time away from your family, your work, your creative projects, your life to go to therapy, to go to the doctor, to go to the dentist, to go to the ophthalmologist, to go to the dermatologist, to go to a place to support you health wise, then it's important that we know and they know that we want that advocacy like it's premium, premium of premium, because now more than ever, we cannot risk ourselves and compromising our health for the comfortability of someone else. That is a word right there. That is a word. And in addition to that, as a resource, there is Sista Afia. It is a community mental health and wellness therapy plus support group specifically for women of color and Black women, but as well as it's focused on community healing and emotional support. So keep this in mind. I know that there's a lot of resources out there, but we also have to keep this in mind is where do you feel comfortable? If you feel as though this is a support group that is for you, but you also will feel seen and heard both psychologically, wellness wise, and culturally wise, you have to take that into consideration. It has to be taken into consideration always. And then you have the Love Land Foundation, founded by Rachel Cargill, and it offers therapy funding for Black women and girls, prioritizing access, healing, and validation. That is important because how many of us have access? We know where to go, but how many of us can afford it? Insurance is an issue. Good insurance is an issue. Does the provider take my insurance is an issue? Sometimes there are programs that offer stipends for therapy or just resources that you can use towards rehabilitation that can also fall under therapy. So there's so many factors and so many ways that we really need to look at this, but also there's so many ways that we really need to address that there's a systemic issue. But how do we rise above that and not wait for legislations and individuals in power to fix it? We got to find a way around the glass ceiling or break through it. So that also falls under collective healing and community based care. So there is a collective called Beam. It's the Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective, founded by Yolo Akli Robinson. They provide toolkits, healing circles, and training focused on liberation and not just coping. Because how many of us have been just striving but not thriving and suffering but not overcoming? Is very hard and it can be very difficult and isolating to do this alone and by yourself. So that is why surrounding yourself with a village is crucial. But even when you're in these spaces and circles of healing, wearing the full armor, the breastplate, everything, because that is crucial. Because even in circles of therapy and emotions, sometimes emotions can run high and sometimes it can be very hard. Where you're trying to navigate, find your safe space, and also remind other individuals that you don't want your space to be compromised. So you have to keep in mind that it's not to say that this is not your moment, your opportunity to really have that moment to be seen and heard, but you also have to keep in mind that you want to just make sure that you're able to do right by yourself above all else. So, in addition to the Beam Collective, there's also Ethel's Club. It's an online plus physical space for people of color that also includes group healing sessions and journaling and community conversations. Because, as I mentioned, even during the pandemic, we had to learn how to do things via Zoom or via digital spaces. And YouTube has was one of the main saving graces for a lot of individuals, more podcasts, more digital groups, support groups. So finding and reconnecting ourselves to those same support groups are going to be crucial, even as we're living in times like this, where economically we're seeing different changes, where I hate to bring this up here, but yes, the price on gas. And we're feeling as if, driving just to go to therapy is literally going to bring down my tank, and I need to save that to go to other sessions or doctor's appointments or work or someplace else that doesn't require me to spend all this money on gas. So keep this in mind. Having an option for digital therapeutic resources is a plus. So Ethel's Club is also very good. Um, I do know that therapists, there is a therapist directories for to find individuals of color who are clinicians themselves. There is a culturally competent Black therapist portal where you're able to actually have access to that. I know that Psychology Today is also one that many people use to find a gross amount of other clinicians that they're also able to just tap into. But keep this in mind, this is not just making everything sound Black centered or people of color centered, but this is in terms of this space, because historically therapy is not was not something that individuals of the African descent, African American descent, and Caribbean descent and other diasporas often did or often felt comfortable because of the historical implications of the healthcare system, as well as the harsh realities of being experimented on for the sake of the bigger picture of modern day medicine. So we're not going to minimize that history, because that is also many reasons why therapy doesn't work for many people, because they feel minimized or they feel as though their story or their purpose or their dreams are going to be minimized because someone else said, oh, they should try something else. So we have to keep this in mind, that if we're saying this person needs to heal, this person needs to get over it, let's address the brass tacks and let's do some accounting. And then at that point, let's have it all laid out. And then let's start to rebuild, subtract. What can we get rid of? What can we add? What can we divide? What can we save? And that is the goal. And in addition to that, there are other resources for Black mental wellness that I will also be providing. Keep this in mind. There are other platforms as far as that also supports like real talk from communities. I know that Reddit also has a Black mental health groups for therapists, directories, crisis lines, and Black-led organizations, safe spaces to talk. So there are different forms of resources that you can tap into that are feasible and accessible and that you do not have to pay for out of pocket. So that is why it is definitely important to look into a lot of other resources, see what is accessible to you, and determine, does this work for me? Now, if you do better help and is working for you, I'm not judging. This is a safe space. We are all individuals here who have an equal voice and who are here to share and be transparent. This is a safe space. Safe space. So just know that when it comes to those form of spaces, I'm still looking forward for us to make sure that we are just being very mindful of that. And what makes this different as far as these resources is that these aren't just inclusive. Not only are they built on Black experiences, but it acknowledges racial trauma, code switching fatigue. Code switching fatigue is real. Generational healing, and it also helps us to get centered in our soft side, our restful side, our emotional safety, and not just survival. Because when it comes to other forms of resources, we can provide resources up and down. We can look it up. We can ask Chat GBT. We can do so many things. And I will be adding some conversational starters in the description box. I will be adding that because I want you to ask yourself some questions And you're more than welcome to email them to me at askrootedwithaisha@gmail.com, or you're more than welcome to post that in the comments. And this is an open forum, transparency. Let's all be respectful of each other when it comes to the transparency of what we're sharing. But the most important thing is knowing that healing is attainable. And the most important thing is knowing that when it comes to just navigating the overall process of growth, it's attainable, and it's it's real. And many times we forget, many times we lose sight of the fact that we are real people underneath the skin. And the saddest thing is that society conditions us so much to the point where we lose sight of the real realities that we're all literally in this together. Trust me. So it is my hope that as you continue to dive in to this segment, a part of the Grounded Bag podcast, that you're able to feel supported, you're able to be seen and heard, but also respected at the same time. And support exists for you, even in this moment. Take what resonates with you today, move gently with yourself from here. And until next time, be kind to your mind, keep choosing yourself, and moments at a time, keep walking step by step. And if you have not already, again, subscribe, like, share, and comment. And please let me know how this video has been helping you. If you want to email me and ask, Rooted with Aisha, I'll make sure that I have my emails in the description box. Most importantly speaking, please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and let the YouTube algorithm know that this video has been supportive to you and that has been supportive of just letting you know that help is out there, even though in moments like this, we feel as though it's not even attainable. It's attainable. We have to feel as though we're worth it. And you are, ma'am, sir, friends, you are worth it. Now, I'm going to let you go back to work or your life. And I'll see y'all on another episode. Take care now.